Our guest tonight is the owner of Real Therapy Guide Service out of Webster, South Dakota. He's also one heck of a tournament fisherman and a good dude. Let's bring on Marcus Quam so we can get into it.
Hey,
Marcus,
how's it going?
What's up, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Geez, you got enough rods in the garage tonight?
Yeah, need to get the boat here so we can get them in.
Yeah, absolutely. How many you carry in the boat?
It just depends. I'd say anywhere between 20 and 40. I can't leave anything at home.
Yeah, right on. Cool. Let's get into it. We're just going to talk a little bit about your growing up, where you grew up, what got you into fishing, stuff like that. So let's do it. Where'd you grow up, man?
I grew up in Sioux Falls here in South Dakota. Graduated from Del Rapids. So I've been a South Dakota resident my whole life, and now I live in Webster, South Dakota.
Sure. How long ago did you move up to Webster?
I think it was 2016, 2015, right in there. Kind of made the jump. I was kind of working back and forth while I was working on getting the guide service started. So kind of bouncing back and forth between Sioux Falls and Sioux Falls and Webster there for a while.
Yeah, it's a couple hour drive.
Yep, a lot of miles put on there for the first few years or couple of years of trying to move up here.
Yeah, absolutely. So what got you into fishing? I mean, what was that like? Was it your dad, or what really how'd you grow up doing that?
Yeah, it was a family affair for us. We didn't really take vacations when I was a kid. We'd take fishing trips. Dad loved fishing the Missouri River, so we'd go fish Francis Cay, Sharp, Oahe, that kind of stuff. So I never really traveled around and got to do that kind of stuff, but we got to go fishing quite a bit when I was a kid. So that's where kind of everything sparked for me is, yeah, we'd load up and go to the river any chance my dad could get, or the mom, we'd go as a family all the time mostly. And more of the fall trips were with my mom's uncle and my dad. So they're the ones who got me into fishing.
I don't think anyone watching the show would complain about going on fishing trips rather than vacations to Disneyland.
I never did. I ever since I was a little kid, that's all I ever wanted to do was fish. I mean, I think mom and dad had pictures of me holding my first walleye out of Lake Thompson in probably 1989 or 1990, back when the lake was kind of just getting going and everything. And, I was a little tiny kid with a little red hat and a little orange life jacket on and my dad's 16-foot boat. So pretty cool stuff.
Was that your first fishing memories were at Thompson, or were they at the river or somewhere else?
Probably more of the lakes. That didn't take me to the river till I got a little bit older. And by a little bit older, I'm thinking 5 or 6. But I can remember, spending a lot of time on the lakes around Sioux Falls or Brookings, that area. And then I do have some faint memories of going to the river with my dad and my mom's uncle when I was a kid.
Sure. Absolutely. So was it like right after high school? What did you do after high school? Did you get right into guiding, or what was that transition like for you?
No, right after high school, I kind of screwed around. I tried going to college for a couple of years. I worked for my dad. I did a ton of fishing. I mean, no matter what, I was always fishing. I had a boat. When I was 16, Dad helped me get a little 16-foot Lund with a 25-horse Johnson. So I had that. The college wasn't for me. So I worked for him full time and just kind of bounced around and fished. Ended up meeting some other guys and fishing with them. So for me, it was just fishing all the time. When I was right after high school and I started working full time, I worked overnight. So I worked Sunday night through Thursday night. So I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. So as soon as I'd get done working, late Thursday night or early Friday morning, I wouldn't even go to sleep. We'd just hook up to the boat and go fishing.
Heck yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So worked for dad and then how old are you?
I'm 38.
38. So right after a couple of years of college, a little bit of work, then you decided to take it to the next level and do some guiding. And where did that start out for you?
Well, I mean, when I was working for him, I had, kind of an extra day or whatever for the weekend there. And honestly, like I said, just about every Friday I'd get done working and go to sleep. I'd drive up to Webster and I'd start fishing right away. Well, it kind of got to the point where a lot of my buddies were working on Fridays, so I was fishing by myself. And then it felt like I was just kind of almost a guide for them by the time they got done working, and they'd show up and want to go fishing Saturday and Sunday. And I'd kind of had everything figured out and felt like I was spending all the time and money to do it myself. And I was like, well, I might as well just take strangers to get paid for this, Yeah. So that's kind of how the guiding started for me, really, is I just almost felt like I was guiding at that point. So I thought, well, I've always wanted to do something in the fishing industry as a living. And at that time for me, doing tournaments wasn't an option. I mean, I'd bounce around and do some of the local stuff and little stuff, but I was mostly just trying to get by at that point in my life.
Yeah. And were you just like doing some under the table guiding, or did you hook up with an outfitter or a guide that had a program?
Yeah. I guided for somebody else there for a little while, and then started getting a few questions and different things from other people on my own. So then kind of started doing it on my own there a little bit.
Yeah. Because you've had real therapy for how long now?
I started in 2016, and I've been guiding for, this was 10 winters with my own business. So about 13 years now.
Yeah. What's that like, running your own business, guy? I mean, what I see is a lot of guys that guide don't want to fish as much when they have free time.
Yeah.
That's not you. I mean, you're
no,
you get.
I'm a fish head, man. That's all I want to do is fish, even if I'm working or not working. Owning your own business can be a little tough, a little demanding. You got to keep everything straight. You got to be motivated. You got to keep, if you get a call to go to work and you kind of were planning on fishing with your buddies, you kind of got to turn that stuff down and just focus on, well, we actually got to make a living doing this too. Yeah. But that's never been an issue for me. I've always felt like I've always wanted to work and take people fishing. I enjoy taking people fishing, new experiences, what I think's an okay day can be a great day for them. So, I mean, that keeps me motivated to keep working and doing it. And I'm kind of fortunate now where I've got to the point where I kind of have a schedule set or regular customers. So I kind of know when I can take my times off and kind of do my thing on my own,
Yeah, we were talking, it was a few weeks back where it was like 80 to 90% of your clientele is repeat customers.
Yep. A huge repeat list right now. Our ice fishing's a big deal up here. That one keeps me going nonstop. I mean, that's a time of the season where I know I can't take any days off just because there's so much demand, and which is fine. I mean, you got to work when you can. So, the ice fishing's all work. In the summertime, we get to play a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. The boat guiding that's not, open water is not as much of a staple for you. I mean, what would you say? So ice fishing, I mean, we talked and it was like, how many days straight did you guide this winter, or a normal winter? How many days straight? Conditions good,
I think I ended up having like 60 days out of 64 days that I worked. 4 days off out of 64 days of work in there. So the last couple winters have been a little bit warmer. They haven't lasted as long into March. So I don't know what a normal year is anymore. I mean, 3 years ago, I got 38 days in. That was it. Last year was 50 some. This year was, I think, 60, 61 days or something like that. So,
yeah.
I mean, we try to get in as much as possible. Just, that 3 winters ago when we only had 38 days, that was a tough winter. A guy wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? You're kind of used to going that 60, 65 days pretty easy and having a few days off or whatever. And that one kind of Mother Nature, she has the card. She's the one that deals you everything. So you're at
the mercy of that. I mean, what we've seen, obviously I live just 40, 45 minutes south of you, but I've seen like a lot more guide pressure, a lot more competition. It seems like, you know better than me, but it seems like there's a lot of guides popping up. How's that been for you? Does it really affect you at all? I mean, is there any way that affects you, or is it just kind of, you're just doing your thing, trudging along, and it is what it is?
I mean, there's certain aspects that it affects me. I mean, I feel like we've spent a lot of time out on this water figuring out different areas and different spots, trying to get away from other people. I can remember when there was just a couple guide services up here guiding in the winter, and pretty much avoided each other. Like if they were on this lake, we weren't going to fish that lake. We were going to go to another one. And there's definitely guides and things that don't follow that same rule. And even on a spot or whatever, I mean, nobody owns the lake, but it gets tough. There can be a lot of noise, a lot of stuff going on in one area, and
yeah,
it's not like it was. But back in the day, I mean, when guys were out here in Vexilars and hard shacks and different things, it seemed like there was more space on the water than with everybody having a snow bear now. I don't think we really lost any business of that. I was one of the first guides up here with the snow bear. So kind of started that, and that, I think that accelerated my business. I mean, the fishing out of the snow bear is a whole different experience than getting set up in a hub or a flip over and using a Vexilar. We got, our forward facing sonars in there hooked up to TVs, and it's climate controlled. It's comfortable. I mean, the coldest you are is getting out of the truck to get in the snow bear, getting back out of the snow bear to get in the truck throughout the day. So that's definitely made it nice.
Yeah, I see the appeal. Over the years, I've never had one. I've fished out of them a few times. I mean, we fished out of one this year, but I see the appeal and how that could make the guiding business more appealing to other people. Because, I mean, if it's windy and it's colder than hell, nobody wants to be dragging a pop up or a flip over out of the back of the truck, and then, well, the fish aren't here, so let's move on. Because there's a lot of sitting and waiting. Whereas it's just way more proactive in a snow bear. You're hunting the fish with the fish, forward facing sonar and stuff. So I can see how that could bring more people in because it's a lot funner. I mean, it absolutely is.
Yeah, it's like a boat on ice. I mean, fishing the old way with a shack or whatever, to me, it's kind of like short fishing. You got to grab this, you got to grab that. You go to your spot, you set up. Oh, you want to move, you got to pick this back up and go there. Well, with the snow bear, it's like in a boat, and it's like, oh, reel them up, put the lid on, and let's drive. Yeah. Just like in a boat, reel them up, throw them on the floor, and let's go again.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard an analogy. I mean, it's years ago where if you were in a boat and you weren't catching fish in a spot, you wouldn't just sit there and wait for them. So when you're ice fishing in a shack or you're fishing out of your truck, a lot of people get stuck in, well, this is the spot. I'm just going to sit here and wait. And you can be more mobile. So that totally makes sense. So you started Real Therapy 10 years ago. It's been really good for you. Business side of things is good. Let's transition more to tournaments now. So you're also a really good tournament fishing, right? Like you said, that's where you get to have fun, is in the summertime, the boat fishing. Last year was a really good year for you. You guys, obviously team of the year, the Casino Cup. What tournament stuck out, or was there like a day or a fish, or was it the whole season for you guys?
The last couple of years have been really good. I mean, one that sticks out in my head right now is fishing a Lake Area Walleye Club on Bitter. Been fortunate enough to get first the last 4 years in that, which I can't explain. Obviously, I fish the lake a lot and know a lot, but putting everything together to win is it's really tough. It's not anything that I take lightly. Even in that, there's 60 plus competitive boats in that. But the last fish we caught was the one we needed to win. I think we had a couple 26 or 26, 27 in the box, and then we went and got our unders, and we were down to the last, 4, 5, 6 minutes of the tournament, and we saw one, and Ryan cast it over and caught it, and it was like deja vu, because honestly, the same thing happened the year before, except there was like 7 minutes left on the clock. And to have that happen 2 years in a row like that is just, it's crazy. It doesn't make sense, but it was in about the same spot at the same time of night, and we were lucky enough to stick like another 29, so that sticks out to me a lot. I love fishing Devil's Lake because it's really similar to our area, so I love going up there and fishing the Casino Cups. The thing I like about Devil's is it's a big body of water, but when you break it down, it's like a bunch of lakes around here, but it's fun to bounce between the lakes, between Main Bay and East Bay and East Devils and Black Tiger. There's just a lot of different nooks and crannies that are fun to fish. And that lake seems like it's just full, like 3 to 4 pounders right now. Like, even if you're not finding the fish you want for the tournament, you're still finding plenty of like 3 pound walleyes to catch. So that's a fun place to go.
Devil's Lake, and you fish Hawaii a lot too, right? Don't you?
I do. I really enjoy Oahe. I mean, everybody does. It's been out there in the last few years. Oahe's something special. You know, those fish are gigantic, and there's a chance every time you go out to catch one in the teens or, you know, mid-teens or whatever. There's big fish, and yeah, even on a bad day on Oahe, you come in with a couple 28s and your unders, and you get beat. It still doesn't feel as bad when you're catching some big fish like that, you know.
Yeah, you at least made a run in. So I mean, you've been doing this a long time. So comparatively speaking, fishing tournaments, how did you break down water pre, forward-facing sonar? How did you break it down and, find success doing that opposed to now? Because, I mean, obviously, if you're going to be successful now, everybody's got the same equipment, but everybody had the same equipment 6 years ago too. So what was your mindset going into tournaments or even guiding in those situations where you didn't have this tool that allowed you to scan around?
Well, I use side imaging, and I think that's one thing that doesn't get talked about as much, but side imaging is still a really deadly weapon. I mean, you can just sit in your boat, drop into the spot without even putting a trolling motor down and see what's on each side of you, anywhere between 60 and 120 feet, depending on your depth. So we'd break a lot of our water down by just using side imaging. A couple of the best spots I found is just seeing a few marks there on the side imaging and pulling over and then looking it over with the live scope or whatever. But all that stuff still plays for me. I mean, I don't feel like we're just catching fish because of forward-facing sonar. I think guys that have had success before it are still having a bunch of success with still putting all the tools together. I mean, I remember jig wrapping, and I've always had a little boat here in the last how many ever years, and I can remember just going out and fishing for fun. And I had a 17-foot tiller with a Vantage on it. And I just loved fishing out of that boat back then because I could just drop that Vantage and I could idle with my big motor and I could sharpshoot walleyes off the 2D with jigging wraps. And I mean, all those things still come in play. 2D, side imaging, down imaging a little bit, not as much for me. I mean, I watch my 2D and my SI more than anything. But breaking down water is just about being efficient, using all the tools you have, knowing every piece, from your 2D and your SI and your forward-facing sonar, and just being able to be efficient. I mean, it's all about like time management, really. You find a pot of fish. If you can't get the pot of fish to bite, don't beat your head over it. Just go find another one that's biting, really. It's kind of, what I think all the time. I mean, at some point in a tournament, you're going to figure out, even though you think it's tough, somebody's figuring out, and somebody found a pot of fish that's going to bite. So why waste your time on this pod when the next spot or next point or whatever you move to might have the biting pot of fish? And then that's how you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah. So when you go from like somewhere like Bitter that's got 30, what's the deepest spot in Bitter? Deepest consistent spot, 33?
33, 34 foot maybe.
Yeah, and then you go out to Oahe or up to Devil's Lake. I mean, let's say you've never fished it before. What would you say for the people watching is the best way to, kind of break down that piece of water? Is use those tools, look for fish, and then start from there? Are you going to structure first? Are you, our lakes up here, there's not a ton of structure comparatively speaking, right? Like we've got these glacial lakes that are dug out that are just pretty much, for lack of a better term, just big bowls, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would tell anybody to fish your strength, right? Because if you're trying to do something that you heard about or read about that you don't have any confidence with, you got to pick your poison, and fishing your strength is your best thing, whether that's pulling, bottom bouncers, or if that's casting or pulling cranks. I mean, I start by breaking down a body of water by fishing it with my strength. I mean, I'm looking on my graph and looking for fish and trying that. But if I'm going to a new body of water and I don't know anything about it, I'm going to try to find some fish. And I don't know where it's going to be because that just depends on the time of year. But after that, I'm going to start fishing to my strength, because if I know how to catch them this way, that's how I feel confident in trying to figure out how I'm going to get these fish to turn,
Yeah. I was watching a podcast. I think it was with Chad Schilling recently, and he said that, something about confidence goes a long ways. So
it is. I mean, there's a lot of tackle in this garage that nobody probably cares about. But to me,
we care about it. Let's see it.
That's the best bait I've ever had. You know what I mean? Like, and it might be something that didn't sell very good and nobody heard about or cared about. But to me, I have confidence in that bait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gearheads, like tackle heads, just have to have a ton of everything. That might be what absolutely works.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the tackle, Marcus. Let's see.
Yeah, I like the tackle. I mean, I don't know.
There's no tools there. It's just all tackle.
Yeah, what's a garage for? Not tools, tackle. No, I don't know. I try a little bit of everything, but I'm lucky that I get to go on the water a lot. I mean, when you don't have that time, it makes it difficult. So
yeah,
anymore we're seeing that a jig and a worm catches fish all year round everywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Get confidence in something and just stick with it.
It's crazy. You watch these guys that are like on the NWT or watch tour level gold, and it just shows you some guys, you can tell they're really good at hiding what they're using. That's one thing. But some people are very, very transparent about it. And I'm throwing a jig and a worm, or, and you can see them just by the way that the action they're using with their rod, or some guys are fishing ripping wraps or jigging wraps, just because, that's the cadence that is, right? But they're all using different stuff, right? Like different stuff in it, finding success.
Well, I remember a couple times, throughout the years where everybody's like, what's this guy using? He's been winning all the tournaments. I mean, Josh Olson went on a huge run on Oahe there for a while, and everybody's like, what's he using? He was using whatever he had confidence in. He was just really good at getting on the fish and finding them. And, Tom Wynn, when he started out, I mean, I can remember guys chattering and wondering what he was doing and what he's got going on. And he's been an open book with everybody. I mean, it's a jig and a piece of meat.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's just about finding the right fish and, having confidence and fishing them.
Yeah. And that's, you bring up Tom, and one thing is a lot of us, myself included, is like, you think you have to hover in front of the fish, right? Like tease that fish right in front of its face. And, he just drags his jig on the bottom. Like that's all he's doing is jig. And I believe him because he's a very transparent, trustworthy guy. A lot of people were like, oh no, that's not working. But he basically just twitches that sucker along the bottom, kicks up some silt and lets it sit, and then, twitches it along. And obviously it works for him, where that just goes to show you like, oh, he's doing something completely different and having success, that none of us really think of. Some people do, but,
No, it's if you think you figured everything out about fishing, you might as well quit. You know what I mean? Like, it's always, there's something going on, and there's always something to learn and pick off from everybody else. And it is fun to watch. Like, Tom Wynn drops a jig past the fish and it's on the bottom, and like you said, everybody thinks you got to hover it. No, I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and it's just trying those different things and figuring it out and getting confidence. And obviously Tom has a ton of confidence, and it's proven,
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool that he's sharing it with people. That's what's really cool, is a lot of people don't do that. And he's just like, here, like you said, he's an open book, and I'm going to teach you how to do that, because he just cares. He just cares about the sport, it seems, and wants to advance it. So it's cool. Yep. So what's your plans for 26? I mean, we're ice is cleared off a lot of bodies. There's some ice still. I drove by Bitter the other day, and it was still a sheet, right? Like that's not opened up. But for you, you've been getting out a little bit, but what are your plans for the season this year?
It's guide as much as possible. And I'm hoping to fish. I am going to fish the Casino Cup.
Yeah.
Hoping to do a couple other tournaments. I don't know exactly which ones yet here. I kind of got to figure that out. But Casino Cup, we'll do that again. But I don't really have anything else planned. I mean, I'm going to make a few trips for fun. We're talking about Rainy River here pretty quick. And then obviously when I get a break, I'm going to go out to Oahe and try that.
Yeah.
NWT on Oahu is kind of really high on my list. I'm hoping to fish that one.
Yeah.
I got a young family right now. Trying to find the balance and figure everything out is new to me.
Yeah.
So, I got to work through that, but that's one I'm hoping to. But if not, there's hopefully something else down the road or something different eventually. But that will get the scratchy itch a little bit. But yeah, other than that, it's just fish as much as possible in as many places as possible.
Yeah, that NWT tournament is interesting. It's shaping up to be interesting. I mean, with these, I'm watching this Erie event, and they can't fill the coves, right? So at least that I heard they're like 20 short or something, and it just makes you think, well, forcing the qualification for 2027 forced a lot more pros to sign up. I think, well, if you didn't have the coves from the years past, then you're going to end up with a shortage of coves. So I mean, that's one thing that I look at Mobridge and think, well, is that same thing going to happen out there? Sure could, but I don't know. It seems like we have a lot of fishermen here.
It might. We'll see. I know them talking about changing the rules and doing that stuff in 2027s. To me, is kind of limiting the sport a little bit. And I know a few guys that fish it, and honestly, they don't care if guys try to jump in and cherry pick one here or there. I mean, it's more money in the pot.
Odds are those people are donating, right?
Yeah, to me, like no matter what, you're still got to beat like 60 guys. So now, why not try to beat 80? Like what's the difference or whatever? But we'll see. That's kind of an interesting topic and something that I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of interested to see like how they're going to keep the payouts the same, if they're going to, limit the number of people in the field and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they were talking about just getting people to volunteer as co's. I saw something about that. If you're here and you want to jump in a boat, so those people, you go, well, there's some of the prize money, right? What is that the end of the world? Not really. It's still a lot of money to be had, and the percentage wise, if you got 20 people that jump in for free, it's 13 grand less than the prize pool, but I don't know. At least the pros get to fish, right?
Yeah. Yep. I can see where having the Proco thing could change here in the future, and maybe especially with the forward facing sonars, just having a pro in the boat, kind of like the Bassmaster, and not even having a co in the boat. I don't know. It's just you're seeing so much of it where it's less of a trolling game in these tournaments and more of a rod in hand game. Yeah. But in order to do that, I think there could possibly be some changes with live bait and artificial only or something too. I don't know. Maybe that'd be one way to get more sponsors to put more money in it, is not having any live bait. You maybe have some more of the tackle companies throwing some more money in if they're using all artificials.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's something I've never even thought about.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of guys that are running, I think, artificials, but that percentage that aren't, keeps them out of there. You look at like the Bassmaster, and they've been around. I mean, actually, I can't even say they've been around longer because it's not that much longer, right? NWT in some form has been around for like 50 years plus or something. It's been a long time.
Yeah, the Bass tournaments have been around longer though.
Yeah.
And it's just a more, I don't know. They got more coverage, more this and that. So I think that's how they draw some more sponsors too, is maybe better coverage of the anglers and the day of fishing. And it's more of a bigger event than a tournament, I'd say too.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at the production they put on for like the Classic, which, I mean, that's obviously the biggest of all of them, but it was insane. I mean, I watched it. I was like, this is a full on production,
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to watch.
Yeah, it is. It's really fun.
300 grand. That'd be all right, huh?
Yeah, that would be.
Wasn't that like 22 years old or something?
Yep. I think he was 22 years old.
What's crazy is his brother won the College Classic that same weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And I think Dave Mercer had them both on in a podcast a while ago before the Classic, and he asked both of them, how Dylan was going to do in the tournament, and both of them said he was going to win it pretty nonchalantly, but it was kind of funny. It was cool. And then here we come full circle, and he did.
Yeah, No, it's really cool to see the kid that young just absolutely annihilating everybody else with
Yeah.
confidence. There it is. There's the confidence, right?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So you got any words of wisdom for anyone watching as far as fishing, words of wisdom or anything like that?
Man, I don't know. I kind of pinch myself for where I'm at, right? Like I feel lucky that I'm getting to kind of live my dream. And I guess the only thing I can say about something like that is if you want it bad enough, you just got to work for it. I mean, it comes in stages, right? You don't end up in a, big fancy new boat within a couple of years of doing this. You got to, almost earn your stripes. I came from nothing, I had small boats, old trucks, whatever. And, it's just like any other job. You just put your time and heart and energy into it, and you do a good job, and things will work out for you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people that obviously don't, maybe there's some that want to chase like the dream of being a full-time guide. Some of us have careers, some other,
Yep.
So you just got to make, like you said, you got to make the most of the free time you got and just be thankful to get for the folks that live around us. Like I'm very thankful that I can be on so many bodies of water in 30 minutes. It's to the point where, I joke about this where someone asked me, well, where are you going fishing tomorrow? I have no idea. Like I really have no idea because it'll change while I'm in bed, getting ready for bed. Oh, I should go here. The next morning, meet up with the buddies and let's go here. And then there's a conversation about it. And then you go to the gas station. Let's actually go because we have so many options. It's really cool. It'd almost be better if we had less options, because there'd be less decision making.
Yeah, no. I mean it's fun though. Like not every lake's going at the same time. You can go down the road, 5-10 miles, and the lake you were just on was horrible. Something's going on. Fish weren't eating. You go to the next one, and you won't have a better day. They're snapping like crazy. So that is one of the allure and good thing about living here is we have so many different options, and we have little lakes and we have big lakes, and we are close to the reservoir systems. We live in a great area. I don't know if there's a better area to live for just catching fish.
Yeah.
There's places with bigger fish, but we still have a lot of nice fish here for the size of lakes that we have and the pressure we receive. You know what I mean? The state has done a very good job of stocking walleyes, in my opinion. And, I don't see it being bad here at all.
Yeah. I talked to like maybe five different people or six different people yesterday that all found some fish and they were all on different lakes.
Yeah.
Like and every one of them was within like 25, 30 minutes of Watertown. So really? Geez, that's cool. So it is, you're right. We're very spoiled to live up here. It's good that you made it up here and, moved your family. So it's you and Jess, and then you got two young kids, right?
Yep. I got a 4-year-old and a 10-month-old right now.
Yeah. It's a lot to juggle with guiding and fishing full time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best or most organized at everything, so throwing a couple kids in the mix has definitely changed things because I was used to just working and fishing. So I'm having to find a balance and bend a little bit more, which is completely fine. But yeah, it's still a new thing. I mean, there's no book on how to be a fishing guide and a parent at the same time or want to go fish tournaments, right? You got to figure it out. And it's good, though. I am lucky. I still get to go a lot. I mean, people probably see me and he's like, oh, he didn't slow down at all. He has 2 kids, but I mean, I'm the kind of guy that once I have some, I want some more, so
yeah,
but it'll get there again. I mean, I've been lucky. I fished a lot, even, before we had kids. And, when I was just guiding, I remember getting done ice fishing and spending like 16 days on Winnipeg and then heading to Lake of the Woods and fishing the whitefish chain and leaving from there and going to Erie and going from Erie to Green Bay. Like I've had a lot of fun, got to be in a lot of different places. So,
yeah.
So, and then I get to come home and go fishing again.
Yeah. Cause you live in Webster.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, cool. Let's we'll wrap it up. It's good stuff, man. I mean, it's good to hear about the business side of things a little bit. Learn more about, kind of how you approach different bodies of water. We'll have to do it again. Hopefully this year is good for you in the Casino Cup, and hopefully it's a good year on the water guiding. Yeah, appreciate it, man.
No, thank you very much.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks.
Later.